Welcome to Bible Storytime, and thank you for joining us today as we journey into one of the most remarkable and humble beginnings in the Bible, the story of how God chose David to be king. The throne of Israel was unstable. Saul, the first king of the nation, had turned away from God. Though he had started with promise, pride had taken root in his heart. He disobeyed the Lord, feared the people more than he feared God, and acted on impulse rather than obedience. So the Spirit of the Lord departed from Saul. The kingdom needed a new king, not one who looked powerful on the outside, but one who listened to the voice of God. Samuel the prophet was mourning. He had anointed Saul with his own hands. He had hoped Saul would lead well, but now God had rejected him. Samuel wept for the fallen king until the Lord spoke. "How long will you mourn for Saul," said the Lord, "since I have rejected him as king over Israel? Fill your horn with oil and be on your way. I am sending you to Jesse of Bethlehem. I have chosen one of his sons to be king." Samuel was afraid. "How can I go?" he asked. "If Saul hears about it, he will kill me." But God had a plan. "Take a heifer with you and say, 'I have come to sacrifice to the Lord.' Invite Jesse to the sacrifice, and I will show you what to do. You are to anoint for me the one I indicate." So Samuel obeyed. He journeyed to the small town of Bethlehem, his heart still heavy, but his spirit aligned with God's command. The elders of the town trembled when they saw him approaching. Prophets did not visit for small reasons. "Do you come in peace?" they asked. "Yes," Samuel replied, "in peace. I have come to sacrifice to the Lord. Consecrate yourselves and come with me to the sacrifice." Then he invited Jesse and his sons and had them consecrate themselves as well. One by one, Jesse's sons stood before Samuel. The first was Eliab, tall, strong, commanding. Samuel looked at him and thought, "Surely the Lord's anointed stands here before me." But the Lord whispered, "Do not consider his appearance or his height, for I have rejected him. The Lord does not look at the things people look at. People look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart." Then Abinadab stepped forward, then Shammah, and 4 more sons after that. Each time the Lord said, "Not this one." 7 sons stood before Samuel, and 7 times God said no. Confused, Samuel turned to Jesse. "Are these all the sons you have?" Jesse hesitated. "There is still the youngest," he said, "but he is out tending the sheep." A shepherd boy, left out, forgotten, not even considered important enough to bring to the gathering. But Samuel said, "Send for him. We will not sit down until he arrives." So a servant ran to the fields. Somewhere out in the hills, a young boy stood barefoot on the grass, watching over his sheep. His hands were calloused. His face was sun-kissed. He sang to God as he worked, unaware that heaven had already chosen him. David walked into the room, young, ruddy, with bright eyes full of life. And the Lord said to Samuel, "Rise and anoint him." "This is the one." Samuel stepped forward. The room must have fallen into silence. Oil was poured from the horn onto David's head. It ran down his hair, onto his shoulders, a visible sign of a heavenly calling. And in that moment, the Spirit of the Lord came powerfully upon David. Not because he was strong, not because he was famous, but because his heart beat in rhythm with God's. No one in the room, not even David, knew what lay ahead. He would face giants, endure exile, command armies, and write psalms that would echo through the ages. But for now, he was still just a shepherd. Yet heaven had called him king. God had passed over the impressive, the expected, and the obvious, and chosen the least. Because God does not need what the world admires. He is looking for hearts that are humble, obedient, and willing to walk with him. Maybe you feel overlooked. Maybe you feel like you've been left in the field, unseen and forgotten. But know this, God sees the heart. And the one the world forgets, God often calls by name. Thank you for joining us today on Bible Storytime. If this story inspired you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We bring you the timeless truths of Scripture, stories that still speak, still stir, and still call us to something greater. And always remember, when the world looks at the outside, God looks at the heart.